In this video, we're going to show you how to remove and replace front sway bar links on a Nissan Rogue all-wheel drive, located behind both front wheels. Remove the hubcap. You can either use a pry bar or just put your hands in here like this and give it a pull. Set it aside. Now with a 21mm socket, you're going to remove the tire. So I'm going to start by spraying everything down with some rust inhibitor penetrating spray. Make it a little bit easier. So after I sprayed it, let it soak a little bit. It's 18mm, so I'm going to put a deep socket on there with a 3/8 gun and see if I can loosen it up enough. And if it starts to spin, then I'll put my Allen head, which is a 6mm Allen head, in the center. Okay, so she's spinning, and now I can put the Allen head on there with a wrench, hopefully. All right, now let's get our Allen head in a breaker bar. The one I'm going to use to replace it does have a wrench mark where you can put a wrench on. This one does not. So you can use a pair of locking pliers, but if the Allen head is working, it's not rotted out, I'm going to use this. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm only going to get so far, and the rest is going to just take over. So let's take this all apart. So once that Allen head rounds off, which I expected it to do, I always like to give it a shot. I'm going to have to use a pair of locking pliers on the back, and I'm going to try to grab that metal lip, and then I'll use my Allen head to tighten up my locking pliers. I don't know if any of you know that, but that's a little tech tip right there. If you have a pair of locking pliers that have that Allen head on the end, that stops you from having to squeeze it so tight that it hurts your hand. And now I can use my air gun, 18mm, to back this off. And then it will break free like that, and we'll have to lock it up again. So back it down, easily close it, and get your Allen head socket, snug it up this way. All right, so I'm going to heat mine up with induction heat. If you don't have this, then you're just going to have to keep fighting with it, sorry. And there we go. Now we can take that off the top strut. All right, so we're going to take the bottom of the sway bar link off the sway bar itself. I'm going to go right for the old locking pliers. Snug them up. Now down here is 18mm also, so let's get a ratchet and see if we can ratchet wrench. See if we can break this free. On this one, we're going to be pulling up on it to break it free. All right, so broke it free. Let's hope for the best that it goes all the way to the end here. I am going to try a 3/8 air gun with a swivel 18 on it. See if I can get in there and really crank this thing out. There you have it. So here's our new link, the hex point. And this particular one is a 20mm wrench, and the nut is still an 18. So here we go. I'm going to install the bottom one first. Start the nut by hand. I'm going to put my 20mm wrench right on there. And get my 18mm ratchet wrench and snug it up before I torque it. All right, let's get the torque wrench set to factory specs. So the torque specs on the sway bar link is 62 foot-pounds, 18mm socket, and it shouldn't spin. We're going to just snug that right up. And doing that before you attach the top, so much easier. You have the movement in here to use your torque wrench. Now we can bring it right up and attach the top. Put that bolt right through, and we're going to hand start the nut. I'm just going to bottom it right out. And that wrench on the back is a 20 millimeter wrench to hold the, and that is a 18. 20 millimeter is holding the back of that, and then an 18 millimeter socket. We're just going to snug it up, and then we'll torque it to factory specs. All right, now I'm going to get my torque wrench, and I'm going to set it for 62 foot-pounds. That's the factory specs for the sway bar link. Now we can put our tire back on. So now we can put our lug nuts on. Always start them by hand. And that's a 21 millimeter socket, and we'll just snug them up and then torque them to factory spec. Just bottom them out, crisscross pattern. So now the torque spec for this Nissan Rogue is 80 foot-pounds for the lug nuts, 21 millimeter socket, and we're going to go in a star pattern. Always double check. So now we can put our hubcap back on. Make sure you see the notch that's cut out for the valve stem or the TPMS sensor in this case. I like to put it on, take a rubber mallet. Good to go. When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.